If you've ever wondered how top Forex traders identify high probability setups and stay calm when the market gets extremely volatile, then you're going to want to stick around. Welcome. I'm Francois Duplessis, your market analyst here at ATFX Africa. And today we are heading into West Africa, Nigeria to be more exact, to sit down with Chuemelie, a seasoned currency trader who has made a name for himself in the Forex space. Known for his sharp market insights and consistent performance, his favorite battleground is none other than Euro USD. And we're going to dig into his strategy, his mindset, and lessons he's learned along the way. Chuemelie, welcome to the show. Could you please tell our viewers a bit more about yourself?
Okay, so thank you very much, Francois. My name is Chikwado. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me. So I've been trading for this is 11 years now. So I started my final year in 2014, learning, of course, at the time, we didn't have YouTube and all of these things the way we have it now, just learning the ropes gradually. And eventually, sometime in 2019, I took it a bit more serious and I got more consistent over time. So that's the history. And for the record, I have gone through multiple strategies. Because I was self-taught. Unlike when you have a mentor that you just learn or the ropes directly, you just learn one strategy. Myself, I had to go through multiple strategies before I could eventually find what works for me. So and when I found what worked for me, I've stayed with it ever since, and it's stripped down to the simplest form you can ever think about in the market. So that's really my approach to the market: just liquidity sweeps, and that's it, and trend. That's all.
That's absolutely fantastic, and I'm super keen to get more in depth on exactly what you just told everyone there. So let's kick things off. Let's start with the first one. If you'd not mind, what is your process for spotting high probability setups in the Forex market? How do you go about it? What do you look for? What is that process that you follow that makes you so successful?
All right. So, the process for me, it's to be kept as simple as possible. But when I get into every new week, one of the first things I do is I look at the previous week's candle close, because I'm usually, holding trades out for quite a bit of time. I look at the previous week's candle close and I look at the overall trend on the higher time frame. Now, the trend on the higher time frame tells me if we're at a position where we're likely to continue the trend, or we're in a position where we're likely to have a retracement. So all of this, the charts are going to tell me that. But in order for me to actually ensure that I am, not getting in at a point where something surprising could happen, I look at the fundamentals and I see, okay, what do we have coming up this week? And of course, with Trump in this White House now, it's gotten a bit more erratic. It's very, very interesting. The CPI and MPI numbers and all of these things, PMI numbers, they're not really the thing anymore. It's more of his tweets and what he chooses to do with tariffs and all of these things. So that has gotten a bit more erratic now. But for me, overall, I would always look at the trend, see where we are, especially on the higher time frame, weekly and daily time frames. These time frames tell me where we're at. And of course, when I get down to the H4 1 hour, I'm seeking execution in those time frames. So that's really all I'm doing. It's nothing complicated at all.
Zero commission on stocks? Yeah, nothing. What if you could get this value today? Turns out you can. Join ATFX now and let's get you started.
Absolutely fantastic. Chikwado, tell me, what is it about Euro USD that makes it your go-to trading pair? Why that Forex trading pair above all the other ones that we have? Why not USD JPY or anything in that regard? Why Euro USD?
So Euro USD, I found Euro USD follows technical patterns quite well. Euro USD follows technical patterns in a way that I love. And as for USD JPY is probably my enemy pair. I don't like USD JPY for any reason. I tend to, for whatever reason, maybe on the days I'll have a loss in the market, it's just whenever I go over to USD JPY, and it's not really a fun pair for me to trade. So I stick to Euro. Over time, when I was back testing, I spent a lot of time back testing it. I just happened to find that I spent a lot of time back testing it. And, eventually I stayed with it. A few times I would trade GBP USD. Of course, I would trade other things. But Euro USD has just been, when I open my charts, I'm going over there to see, okay, where are we at? So it's more like I'm familiar with this, particular pair. And, it's interesting to always stay with what you're familiar with in these markets. I've tried to branch over to gold a few times, but eventually I might do all the analysis on gold, do all of these things. And when it's time to place the trade, I'm seeing it on Euro USD. That's just how it has been for me.
That is super interesting. But Let's stick with Euro USD there for a second. This is one currency pair that is very sensitive to big news events like NFP and rate decisions and CPI. How do you prepare yourself for events like this?
Okay, so because I am mostly a swing trader, I don't really concern myself with what is going to happen in the news, in the moment. So what I do is when I have a news coming out, let's say I am looking at a position and I have a news coming out, one of the interesting things that I do is I want to sit out the news, the announcement period. If I don't have any trade running, I want to sit it out. I want to see how the market responds to that particular news. So after the news, maybe we come to a very interesting era. Maybe we run liquidity. And of course, after a liquidity run, there is always bound to be some form of consolidation before the explosive move happens. So I want to wait out all those news. I want to wait out the NFP. I want to wait out the CPI, the rates, all of those things. I really, really want to wait. I don't want to be in the market where such announcements are happening, because when you put yourself in the position where you're trying to, catch that, it's the market hasn't absorbed that news yet. So I always want to wait for the market to take it in, and then from there, we see what happens. That's really my approach to it. So it's not like news is coming and then I'm jumping around trying to find entries around the news period. And I really don't trade like that.
You mentioned that you're a swing trader, and I know there's probably a lot of people watching here today that they sit there and they are very discouraged because of the fact that they don't always necessarily have the time to trade, especially because on social media, we see so many people, scalp trading certain news events and spending hours a day trading the markets. Now, as a successful currency trader already in your own right, what would you recommend for each one of these people to maybe have a look at swing trading and how to go about it so that they can also trade currency markets, but with their limited available time that they currently have?
This is, we all start out as swing scalpers and day traders at some point. And eventually the market tells you some point that, that's really not the way to go about this. So for me, initially when I started, I was, I would scalp, I would day trade, but I found it to be very, very stressful. It was ridiculously way too stressful for more than what I was willing to accept from the market. So I decided to start. And I think part of why people would want to be day traders or scalpers is because they really want the money just as quickly as possible. So somewhere along the line, you have to force yourself to delay the gratification. Right now, I use a minimum of a 3-to-1 and a 4-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And I am prepared to wait for it to get hit. I am honestly prepared for it to get hit. So I want to sit that out completely. And one of the things it does for me is that it eliminates the stress. The moment I put on the trade, I'm off the charts. I am not looking at this every day. I have other things to do. I have students to attend to because we have a trading academy here. I have to go downstairs, attend to students, and the trade is running. I have another business as well that, supplies electrical equipment. I would go there to see how business is going over there. So I really, really want to be able to get time out for other things. If anybody is looking to get into swing trading, the first thing they have to do is they have to eliminate any form of desires to snap off profits quickly from the market. And the level of stress that you find in day trading and scalping is really not something that I am caught out for. I mean, I don't want to do that. If I was probably in my 20s, I would be comfortable doing that. But maybe it comes with age or something. But, at this point, I just don't want to be taking all that risk, spending time on the charts. It's just too much stress for me. So place the trade, put the stops and targets, and go away. Much easier.
Super tight spreads? Yeah, tighter than your jeans after Christmas lunch. What if you could get this value today? Turns out you can. Join ATFX now and let's get you started.
I can agree with you on that one. As you get older, scalp trading and day trading can definitely affect the blood pressure a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
With that said, what is the most valuable lesson you've learned from trading?
Oh my God, less is more. Less is more. This is for me. I've made more money. I'm more comfortable. I'm less stressed, taking less trades compared to, trying to take 15, 16 scalps in a day. Less is more. And being able to delay the gratification for me has been the ultimate game changer. Like less is more. Just hold out your trades, allow the market come to you. And while everybody is running to, catch those tiny movements in here, just aim for a big one and allow the market to give you that. So less is more, less is more. You don't have to do so much to make so much money. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that, we have in these markets. Everybody thinks, the more you trade, the more you trade, the more you're likely to give it back to the markets and, not be able to keep any of those profits for yourself. So for me, the most value is being able to do so much less in order to get so much more. That's just what I found to be the most valuable for me personally.
Absolutely beautiful. And as we wrap things up here today, for traders watching this today, what is your number one tip for navigating the currency market as they either kick off their trading or try and improve where they currently are?
So my number one tip is that the system you have probably already works. The system you have probably already works. There's a huge tendency from what I've seen with students. They tend to want to, go here and there, try to find a new system every so often after a winning or losing streak or something like that. Your new system probably already works. All you need to do is, from what I found coaching students and people who are at break-even level, I've just found that a lot of the times where they have a main problem is with the risk to reward ratios. So you have to allow the winners to run. And if you're looking for a way to do it, set a consistent risk. Let's say you go for a 50 trade cycle. I mean, this is not going into the way we teach these things. Go for a 20 trade cycle and tell yourself that in those 20 trades, the risk is 1%, the target is 3%, or the target is 2%. Now, if you have that and you do that for 20 trades and you do it 5 times, you will see that automatically somewhere along the line, you have a good risk to reward ratio and automatically you would have gotten profitable along the way doing that. So the system you have already works. You have to find a way to allow your winners to run. This is the only way. You don't have to change system. You don't have to change the technical analysis style or try to find some new fundamentals. No, your system probably is as good as it needs to get. You just have to allow yourself as an individual to leave the market alone to give you what you want. So that's what I would tell anyone.
Absolutely wonderful. And that is probably one of the best pieces of advice I have ever heard any one of our guests give our traders at the end. Chikwado, thank you so much for joining me today. And traders, with that, we come to the end of today's daily market brief, brought to you by ATFX Africa, the broker that gives you an edge in today's markets. If you want to experience the difference for yourself, simply head over to ATFX Africa and have a look. Traders, until next time, stay sharp, stay focused, and trade smart.